Hey everybody, my name is Sharon Quinn and I'm also known as the original Runway Diva, and you are watching Model Behavior. Class is officially in session. My guest lecturer today is a global leader in the fashion industry as well as an educator at FIT and Kingsborough Community College. He started his fashion career in Italy working for Crizia and Anna Scipione. Since then, Stephen Cutting has led design teams at Perry Ellis America, Beyonce's House of Darion, and many others. Welcome to Model Behavior, Stephen Cutting. Hey, Stephen.
Hey,
How
Sharon.
you doing?
I'm
Thank you
great.
so much for being here.
Thank you, thank you. And
So, go ahead, say
I
what
just
you...
want to say, it's just great to finally have the opportunity to share my power behind the passion I have for fashion.
Okay, so we're gonna get. I'm
yeah.
gonna come right back
We're
to
gonna
that.
talk about that.
But I want to jump right into it because something that in your bio jumped right out to me. So it says your title is seasoned designer, product developer specializing in sourcing apparel and accessories. What does that mean exactly?
It means that I started in Brooklyn, and at the age of 6, I taught myself how to sketch and how to really be involved in fashion because of looking at Ebony Fashion Fair, looking at all the different magazines, and that when I grew up and I went to high school in Queens, after going to a regular school, I decided to apply to just one school, FIT. And, I went to FIT, but it was not to the happiness, I guess you could say, of my parents.
Oh, they didn't want you to...
They didn't want me to go to FIT to be a fashion designer.
What, did they want you to be a doctor?
Well, they wanted me to pursue a really good Ivy League career. Because of my FIT SAT scores, I had gotten very high. A lot of Ivy League schools came after me. And one school in particular was Princeton University that I had gotten a chance.
You turned down Princeton to go to FIT?
I turned down Princeton to go to FIT.
How long did it take for your mother to start speaking to you again?
My family, honestly, you know what? My family actually was supportive.
Oh, good.
Because they knew that all throughout the high school, and I always was teaching myself how to be better and better with art. So,
okay, but I want to stop you because you said you were 6 when you started sketching, and so you
I taught myself how
you
to
just
do it.
had a natural affinity for art.
You know what? I was always the kind of kid that my mother, I would say to her, "Mom, you know what? Why don't you put a little pink lipstick on, or put a little red lipstick on? I think you would look better." So I always appreciated how women look. Always wanted them to look better. Always wanted to just be a part of it, fashion.
Now, see, this is all. It all comes as a surprise to me because I met you during Full Figure Fashion Week when you were on a production crew with us.
Sure.
So that's what I thought that you did. I didn't. I mean, your resume is major. I'm just like designer. As a designer, how come you don't have? Why aren't you creating collections and?
Well, let's go back because you asked me about the resource. Okay,
right.
About me being a researcher. Okay. So, I taught myself how to sketch, how to go to school and become a really good designer. I went to Europe, I worked in the fashion industry, and it was great for a number of years. And then I decided I came back to the United States and I wanted to make sure that I established a really good business career. So I decided to be a design consultant. After working for people like Perry Ellis, being the chief main designer for Perry Ellis America, and Kenneth Cole and other names as well, I wanted to work with different houses where I can use my creativity and to make sure I build upon my passion for fashion.
But now, what is the chief main designer for a brand? What you're responsible? Do you create the designs?
Yeah, okay, as a designer, what you do is that you make sure that you put together the theme, you make sure you pick the right fabric, you make sure that you know how to produce it the best way within a price point for the customer.
And this is based off of the ideas that you get from the head, like the...
Well, when you're working for a house like Perry Ellis America, that's a big company, so they have a design director who really is from the main source of the company.
Okay.
And so they give you, because I work for a licensee, it's a person who really, the company I work for, actually what they did was that they paid Perry Ellis a certain amount of royalties just to use their name on the product that we designed.
Oh, okay.
So what we had to do was to give them all the designs and they would have to approve it.
Okay.
So that's what we had to source it in a certain price point. We had to know the direction of how the company was going to go for the season. But then after that, they will look and see all of our product, and then they will approve it, yes or no.
Okay, so you couldn't just go willy-nilly and
No, you
create
can't.
something that
You can't.
you thought.
No, no.
So you really
But
have
you
to
know
stick
what?
to what they
What
tell
was
you.
really good about that was that I was able to really go to different factories overseas and to really understand how garments are put together and how a certain price point, if you use fabric from this mill that's $5 a yard, or you use fabric from this mill, which is $3 a yard, and you combine them together, then you'll be able to get a good product for a good price point, and you can get a better output with your price that you're going to charge to make money. So I learned the production side of it, the business aspect of it, besides just being a creative designer.
Okay, now as a black man,
Yes.
that had to be an interesting experience for you, because there couldn't have been too many of us over there at that time
No, it
doing
wasn't.
that.
You know what? I'm going to tell you, as a man of color, black man, or however you want to say, you know, it really, I stood out because of, number one, when I went to China the first time in 1987, you know, I was the tallest man there, and I had hair then, but yet everyone wanted to come and touch my hair, touch my skin, you know, to see who I am. But you know what? It never bothered me because culturally, I've been aware of how to mix and be with people of all kind of cultures at all times. And that's really important as a designer or just person who's creative or just someone who's a good businessman. You have to know how to just interact
That's how, as a
with
human
everybody.
being.
As a human being. As a human being.
Absolutely.
So that's very important.
Yeah, the touching thing, I'm quite familiar with that.
Oh, yeah.
In Paris, the first time I went, it was just the staring, and I was just like, okay, so you got to smile at me or
Sure.
something, so I don't think you crazy. But I knew that I looked different from them, so that's what I got all day long. But so, did you have any negative experiences?
I had a lot of negative experience. Overseas, you know, people would, at the factories at first, like especially in India, going to the factories in India, you know, they were welcoming, but at first they were hesitant because they were used to working with European designers. And then when they see a man of color who's telling them, you do this, you do that, they're like, oh, who's he? But then after a while, I just know how to talk to people and to make them understand I'm with you. And since I let them know I'm with you, they do whatever I need to do.
Okay, yeah. Well, again, that's a life rule. It's all in how you say it.
It's all about the presentation.
Yeah,
And you know, that's one thing in learning in my career. I've learned how to do a great presentation for everybody. Now, as an educator, it's really important for me to teach that to my students so that they understand how to react to other people. Now, I'm going to tell you something about what I'm doing at FIT.
Okay.
At FIT now, I'm the first, I've been there for 22 years teaching at FIT.
Really?
It's been a long time, and 11 years at Kingsborough.
So you teaching at
seven
you
years.
teach at both of them
I teach at both of them, yeah.
currently?
Currently, yeah. One's a state university, the other one's a community university. And you know, the difference between the two is that in the state university where I teach, it's more traditional type students. What that means is that they are, after high school, they go to college, and they are really on a path towards a career. In the community college at Kingsborough, I can hit all kind of ages. There's a non-traditional student, which is some traditional, right out of high school, they go to college. But a lot of the people who are non-traditional are older. They come from diverse backgrounds. And so I teach a whole diverse community of people. At FIT, it's fashion design. It's all about art, how to put your portfolio together, the foundation courses. It's all about putting together a whole collection, building it. At Kingsborough, it's not only the art classes I teach, but it's also draping, you know, putting together the construction part of clothing. So Kingsborough is really more of an entree school into the fashion industry for a career.
Okay.
Whereby FIT is a full-fledged, you jump right in it and it's a career. So that's the difference between the two. So, but you know what? It's a difference, but the student still has an interest for fashion. But getting back to what I was saying about presentation, it's really important that in both schools or whoever you talk to, you have to know how to always speak well, speak up, let others know about who you are. If you're clear in your focus, you're concise with your words, and then confident. So that's what I teach to all my students: clear, concise, and confident.
Okay, okay. Now, tell me about Stephen Cutting Inc.
Okay.
I saw that on your resume.
You know, I started Stephen Cutting Inc. in 1990.
And what is that?
Okay, what it is, it's a design consultancy firm. And what I do as a designer is that I work with different companies. I put together their collections. I may have to go overseas to do their production. I may have to just work with individual designers at a company just to hold their hand and say, yes, the colors are this way, or you need to make sure that your clothes fit another way. So I work individually, tailored to different companies as an assistant.
Okay. So I'm listening to all of this stuff. Do you sew?
You know what? I sew, but I don't like to sew.
But you can sew.
I can sew. But you know what? I'm really good at telling others how to do it. That's the key for me.
So
Make sure others
now
know.
have you ever, okay, you know where I'm going with this. So
I know.
Have you ever designed clothing like for your mom or the women
Okay.
in your life that
All
inspire
right,
you?
So here is the first important thing for me. 1981, I won the Harvey's Bristol Cream Award for Most Outstanding Black Designer.
Right, okay.
And so at that event, I made a suit for my mother to wear.
Okay.
And she stood out. She was real proud, and it was a silk taffeta suit, and it was made well. You know, on the outside it fit her. The inside, a little questionable there, but she wore it, and that was really one of the most famous things I made. I made for Billy Blair, the model Billy Blair.
Oh, I know who Billy Blair
Oh,
is. I don't
yeah.
know if y'all know, but I know who she is.
Billy Blair, and we're still good friends now.
It's an icon right there.
Oh yeah, she's beautiful, and she was my first muse. So I made a really special outfit for her, her mother. So that was it as far as making my own clothing, and that's a long time ago.
And you just didn't have a passion?
I don't
for
have the
that?
passion for actually sitting down behind a machine. Listen, as a designer, you have to know what you're good at. So I know I was not really good at sewing. I know I'm really good at art skills, putting together the presentation for portfolio, selling the product, talking to people. I'm not good at actually sitting down behind a machine and putting the garment together. But working in the industry for so many years, working with different pattern makers, working with different seamsters, I know how to construct clothing.
So if I wanted to put together a clothing line for
Sure.
myself, and I don't sew,
Sure.
but I know what I like, so I could translate that to you,
Sure.
what my
Your
aesthetic
vision.
is,
Yeah,
what my
sure.
vision is,
Sure.
and you could help me bring that to life.
I do that now. I work with a couple of small designers in Jersey, and I help them put their clothing together, where I teach them how to sketch basic ideas, because everybody a lot of times wants to be a designer, but they don't know how to communicate their style.
Okay.
So what I do is that I help them put together their clothing line by sketching, going shopping to make sure they get the right fabric, know who their customer is. That's really important, because a lot of designers don't know who they're trying to design for. You know, they'll just have this idea that everyone's a size 2, but their customer is actually size 22. So it's really important that, you know, they understand who their customer is first. So we talk about that. What does your customer like? What does she doesn't like? Where does she shop? What kind of designers will she wear? Who she won't wear? That's really important. So we really discuss all those things first, and then I make sure that they have the right fit for their garments. Do they understand about pattern making? Can they actually put together using an inferior fabric to drape on the body or the mannequin the look that they want? or just doing a flat pattern work. So that's really important in putting together all your design ideas, because everyone has an idea about being a designer, but they don't know technically how to execute it. So I teach them.
So, okay, so that's interesting. So I haven't asked this question in a while, but I usually ask it to most of my designer friends.
Sure.
So what do you, now there are a lot of people that are, and I guess what I just asked you is the same thing. There are a lot of celebrities that are putting their names on lines, but they don't sew, they don't design, they don't do anything. What is your opinion of that?
You know, as a designer who has that gut, instinct of designing, I don't like it.
And you took the time to master your craft.
Yeah. And you've been to school and you
Right.
learned how to do it, you paid your dues. But as a businessman, I understand it because it's very important that people in fashion know that it's a business and you really have to understand how to make money. I can be all creative in my room or in my corner and making all kind of clothing for everybody that I think is going to buy. But yet when I have the real desire to move to the next level and actually want to execute something better and make more money, I have to know globally or just marketing, how do I do that? So many companies, they'll go to a celebrity like, let's say Beyonce,
Okay.
and they'll go to Beyonce and they'll say, we have this product, but we need you to help endorse it. So we can pay you and we'll make money at the same time. So that's why it's good a lot of times when you have these celebrities who come and help take the brand to the next level. And as a designer, you want that. For me, okay, let me step back.
Okay.
When I first entered the industry as a young, non-jaded designer, I always wanted my clothing line to be out there with my name, okay? But after working in the field for a number of years and understanding how it's a business and you want to make money, I've learned how to stay in the background but still stand out front, okay? That's really important because most designers just only want to have their line out there and just, their name, and its face. And then they don't understand how to produce it, how to get the sourcing of funds to make sure that you're in business, how to really sell the product so that the customer will buy it. So I learned how to do all of that and just not make it to be just so, I guess, creative on the point that it's just going to be on a surface level.
So all of those things that you just said, those are the ingredients that you believe are
Yeah, you have to understand.
in making a successful designer.
In order to be a successful designer, you have to be creative, you have to know business, you have to understand how to service people, you have to know how to market your product, and you have to know how to ship it, the financing of it is really important, that you understand anything that's in business about the product. It's great to make a good sketch. Go get some fabric from, let's say, Mood, basic store, but suppose somebody wants what you have on that top.
Okay.
And they want you to produce it like 20,000 units. How can you go back to Mood when they only have one roll of fabric?
Oh, right.
Okay? So you have to know how to source, and that goes back to what you were asking me before about sourcing. You have to know how to go back and make sure that you can get that same print that you have on the same type of fabric, but get rolls, yardage of it at a certain price point. So as a real designer, and I'm not saying designers
And you're not
out
saying
there
that to slight. I get it.
to slight anybody. But as a real businessman, you need to know exactly where to get the goods at a second. Because if QVC, and I've worked with QVC in the past, and HSN, you need to know how to get that product out there to them 1, 2, 3, so that they can sell it to the customers 1, 2, 3. If you don't have the product, you're out.
And this is I'm assuming that this is where a lot of designers starting out fail.
This is where a lot of designers fail.
Because you can get a project Runway or whatever, you can win it and your name is out there, but if you can't produce,
it's gone.
In volume,
it's gone. And that's, you know, that's the problem really with a lot of young designers who, they don't understand that it's great to have a fashion show, okay?
Come on,
because
church.
many people always want to have a fashion show, to see the girls walking down the runway, great music, lighting, hair, all those things. But if your buyers are not there,
If nobody's buying the clothes,
it's just a show. It's for entertainment.
yeah,
And you spent all that money just to make one piece, 2 pieces, 3 pieces. But who's going to buy it in different sizes?
And see, this is what I think that a lot of the particularly the really young new designers coming up that watch this stuff on TV and they get information, but they don't get all the information they need. So they don't understand that throwing a fashion show, I mean, it's fine, it's cute, but it's nothing if nobody sees it that's going to buy it.
Exactly. And they all can pat you in the back and say, great job, good,
As they
love it,
leaving with
love
nothing
it,
in their hands.
Love it. And nobody, and you know, even if they pay to go to the show, that's it.
You ain't recouping your money from not from sales at the door.
And not from your sweat equity to putting it together, buying the fabric, you know, getting the models together, getting the makeup artists, getting everybody together. You know, it's very difficult. You're not going to get anything back. So that's what I really am stressing for designers who really want to be in the market. You really have to understand how to produce, how to get the financing, how to market your brand so that people really buy it.
And so this is you advocating to get educated about this.
Sure.
Is that like, you mean go to school or just life experience?
It's just life experience because many designers out there now who are doing well, a lot of them didn't go to school. Okay?
True, very true.
And they really have a product and they're creative and they're millennials who, you know, they live online, you know, they have Instagram, they have Facebook accounts, and they have huge following.
And this stuff has changed the face of fashion completely.
It's
the way we shop, the way we look at fashion now.
The way everything is done, okay?
Yeah.
So the way everything is done. So a lot of these people, you know, they have a, let's say they start with a T-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
The T-shirt has a great message on it. They show it to their friends. They give it to their friends. They make a certain amount. Next thing you know, they're in business. And they're trying to produce a whole collection of T-shirts, dresses, whatever it takes, but yet they just don't really know how to really do it, but yet they just do it. And they become successful and they make money behind it because they had a creative mind to do it. The bottom line is that always step back and just look at the business side of it. Just make sure you understand how to make different sizing for different people. You know, go to a creative, there's a company called Creative Marker, where a lot of designers go and use, and it's a friend of mine who has this company. But what they do at that company is that they'll take, like, let's say a basic sample that you have is a size 14.
Okay.
That most designers will use, let's say.
Okay.
And that's their sample line. Well, what they'll do is that they'll take that one top and then they'll grade it up or down size-wise. So that, let's say you could have a size 2, a 4, a 6, an 8, a 10, a 12, then you'll have a 16, 18, 22, whatever. But that's important. You're shaking your head, but it's important for designers to know how to take that one sample that you make that's very small and grade it up, grade it down, so that many people can buy it.
Right. I was making a face because I've seen so many people get this wrong.
Right.
And the fit is all off.
Right.
So as it gets larger, the dimensions change.
Of course. If you start with a, I don't know, you start with a chest size that's 48, okay, let's say. As you go up, people are bigger. The sizes are bigger.
So if it changes here, the armhole has to change.
The armhole has to change. The back measurement has to change. Everything has to change. So if you're grading down, you have to make sure that it's going to be accommodating for a woman who's smaller. Or even the same for menswear. It's the same thing. you have to make sure clothing fits.
So give me some insight on your views on fashion today.
Fashion today is a lot of fast fashion, throwaway items. You know, people want more and more and more. It's so important that we make a conscious effort as designers to be sustainable with fashion, with fabrics, with recycling, retooling, reusing a lot of these products, because you can make people care about the world, but that doesn't mean that they actually are going to do it. And what I mean by that is that there's sustainable fashion is something it's not brand new, but it's a whole genre of clothing it's starting to develop in the market for people to be aware of, because a lot of the fabrics that we use have all these chemicals in them. Mm-hmm. And with these chemicals that we have in it, we're destroying the earth. We're destroying our planet. You know, there's a lot of things with plastic bags, mm-hmm. and all these cans that open up, and you know, you have all these bottle tops and everything that's going around. The bottom line is that we as people who are creative have to know how to use things that are here on our planet to make sure that we don't destroy it further with all the chemicals. Like in India now, with leather, tanning of leather skins. There's a controlling part of it to make sure that they don't use such heavy chemicals to destroy the product, and for people to breathe it and to make sure that they die. There's a problem with all the chemicals being used in product. So a lot of companies such as H&M, which has fast fashion in it, mm-hmm. you know, which means throwaway clothes, you know, they are trying their best to make sure that they use fabrics in their operations where they make them, that people have the right breathing apparatuses or just the right resources out there so that we can live and not be sick.
I'm gonna stop you. Because that's fascinating, and I could let you go on, but we're just about out of time. So before we go, tell people how they can reach you on social media.
Sure, you can reach me on social media, like Instagram. Mm-hmm. You can reach Stephen Cutting. You can also reach me on. I have a bag line, TRC by Cutting.
You know, I'm gonna smack you because you just brought that up just now.
But you know what? It's out there. Go to TRC by Cutting.
Okay.
And .com.
Okay.
And you can see the bag line.
Okay. All right, guys. So we are just about out of time. I'd like to thank my guest, Stephen Cutting, for sharing his industry knowledge with us today. Now, before I go, I'd like to leave you with a few thoughts. I want you to, 1, remember that you can't change the game until you first learn the game. 2, always surround yourself with positive people and positive things. 3, do what you love and love what you do. And lastly, be who you are, but be who you are tastefully. Always have a little class about yourself. And don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Did you know that Model Behavior is now available on podcast? You can find us on Apple Music, iTunes, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. Thanks for watching Model Behavior, and I'll see you next week. Class is officially dismissed. Bye, y'all.